the Lissandra. Now, we've seen that lane go both ways this World. We just saw it go very heavily into the Lissandra's favor. So that kind of adds even more credit towards how well Humanoid played that matchup. And we'll see whether he's able to once again take over the bottom half of the map and kind of open up everything for Cersei. Because I think that this is a jungler to me that can dominate an early game solo. Give him any help, he just runs over the enemy team.
He's always been a jungler that can have a lot of impact early on, and as you say, if you can team him up with someone, they can just absolutely destroy. The issue often is for Splyce, they don't do anything with the lead that they generate in the early game towards the mid game, and we'll see if they can do something in this matchup. Isrus from Latin America, and Splyce, of course, from the LEC, with the Pantheon, Syndra, Vladimir bands, and the Kiana, Zaya, and Kai'Sa bands from Isrus.
And we'll see. Oh, it's going to just be... I was going to say, we'll see what jungler Oddie wants to pick up, because he did play the Gragas again today and had a better performance. However, as the game went late, you saw kind of the AP Gragas struggling to make the impact, this time going to the tank initiator. It's going to be something to track to see whether he does go full tank or whether it's going to be a warrior or it's maybe a Black Cleaver, GA, and goes more of that damage-heavy build. Because I feel like Isrus can't just sit here and scale. They need to take the fight towards Splyce.
Splyce have always been a team that will play the scaling game with you. They'll get to 35 minutes, they'll take you out in those team fights. They rely a lot on Corby, and having something like a Gangplank who scales well will be very good for them if we get towards that later portion of the game. We'll see where they decide to go with their next pick. With Zaya and Kai'Sa off the cards, maybe look towards one of those supports like the Thresh.
Yeah, and Thresh is a really good matchup into Jarvan because you can flay him out of that flag and drag early and then look to turn around the punish with the death sentence. I'm also really happy to see Chachi go towards the Gangplank because he has struggled in some of the 1v1 matchups.
Yes, he does get ISO killed quite a lot, but I love this bot lane. Lucian Braum, aggressive from Isrus, with War Angelus having such a good game earlier on, putting him on something he can carry on again.
Give me a percentage that you're sure that it's a bottom lane.
Well, now that you've said that, less than I was a moment ago, Spawn. I would have said 100%, and now you've said that, I'm like 22%.
Because, no, it most likely is a bottom lane. The fact that they chose the two champions as a duo lends even more credit towards that. However, Lucian has got a relatively good laning phase into the gameplay.
Yeah.
If this was Huni, I would say this is the 90-50-10 game.
It's true. It's definitely a 90-50-10 game if it's Huni, but I don't think Bugax will pick it up this game. I think it will go across towards War Angelus. There's the Gragas jungle for Xerxes, something Oddie brought out earlier today that you mentioned. Gnar ban from Splyce, Ashe ban from Isrus. They're really trying to pinch Kobe's pool, but Kobe still has a lot of picks. He's known for his Jhin, his Tristana's there as well. He does play Vayne. It's something we've seen him pick up a couple of times recently.
And if you just want to play with weak side, there's always going to be something like Sivir available as well for some scaling. Not necessarily the best champion on the patch, and I think it has kind of a crummy lane matchup into the Lucian, but you can just try and play for the waves and the scaling. And it's always strange to me when a team decides to pick on bottom lane when there's already a Gangplank locked in. Unless you have something that can really shut down the GP. Like, I'm talking about a Quinn top lane or, you know, potentially something like the Lucian, then he's always going to have the ultimate available to kind of supplement or deny any bottom lane action.
Yeah, it definitely is. The Cannon Barrage can do a huge amount of work. Splyce, there's the Jhin. Something Kobe has played a lot in the past. Isn't always the most successful on it, but he's known for that pick.
Yeah, and I mean, Jhin is one of those champions that in a tankless meta can do a lot of work. Pumps out the damage, has good 1 and 2 item spikes, as well as slight initiation in the kit. Big range for lane bully status. And that's a Quinn!
Jhin into Quinn? No, it's Quinn top lane into the Gangplank.
It is.
Saw it on day 1. Day 2.
I think it's a really good matchup.
Yeah.
I think that this is one of the matchups where Bugax can actually run over Chachi if he plays it correctly. Gangplank is going to very much struggle to trade back, and if we continue that idea of, you know, Bugax playing the level 2 ganking jungler versus the level 3 ganking jungler of the Gragas, then this should be a lane that they can look to bully hard early, and Isrus are completely throwing the narrative of late game in this group out the window. They're saying we're going to win this one in 20, or we're not winning it at all.
There's so much aggression coming out on the side of Isrus, as you say. Now Splyce looking for their final pick. Expect it to be going towards the mid lane. Heimerdinger is a pick. It's not one we see too commonly. That is much more something that Humanoid will play. The pick of the Corki going to get locked in, I believe.
And Corki's a good matchup into LeBlanc. This is one of those old school picks that LeBlanc doesn't really have enough burst to worry Corki out of the lane. And then as itemization continues, the poke, the harass, And then one auto attack late game just takes all of LeBlanc's health, and she says, all right, I'm not partaking in any further matters here.
That's another benefit into this low tank meta we see. You know, Braum is relatively tanky, Jarvan can be tanky as well, but if you get an auto attack with the rapid fire cannon onto LeBlanc, onto Lucian, or onto Quinn, they're not in the game anymore.
To be honest, man, I don't even want to see Oddie go towards the tank. I just want to see him go warrior and see if he can run over the early game, because I really do think that this game is on a serious clock for Isurus, or they're going to have to play the map. And what that means is, if you're 1-3-1ing, tanks really don't matter all that much. And if you're looking for an early game snowball into maybe potential teamfight Rift Herald victories, then the Warrior is going to do a lot more for this lineup.
It's very, very true. Neither of these teams are out of Worlds if they lose here. Of course, Detonation, Focus Me have already been eliminated from the group. This is a seeding game. Winner of this will get first seed, can avoid people like Damwon, perhaps people like Clutch in those knockout phases.
And to be frank, this is a redemption game for both teams. Isurus are scraping through here with very long victories. They got smashed last time they played Splice. Splice just lost to Dead FM. They don't want to go through to the group play-in stage, you know, with that kind of on their reputation.
No LEC team wants to be the second seed in there.
No, absolutely not, especially not on home soil.
Especially not here in Berlin. Splice have sat on this stage so many times before. Here they'll be looking to prove they are still the best on that stage right now. Isurus Gaming, after a slog of a game versus Detonation Focus Me earlier on, after a 65-minute epic, can they pick themselves up off the mat and challenge Splice here? We'll see. Final game of the group, Isurus versus Splice.
All right, so it is Conqueror picked up for Oddie, so more likely that he is going to go the tank route. However, Norscarin with a very good early ward will spot the 5-man invade.
Wait, you said they were going to go aggro in the early game. I'm pretty sure that's what Isurus are doing right here. The ward spotted them out. No teleport on Bugax in the top lane. He's running the Ignite.
Something very important to point out for the Quinn players is that they're not going to have the early teleport. Means that they will try and bully out hard early game and get an early teleport out of Chachi, control a wave to get back up there. And then as soon as Valor's available, you just zoom in.
Yeah, just zoom straight at him. Chachi has been on the wrong side of a lot of solo kills throughout the course of the LEC, known for overextending, for dying isolated. Believe he actually has the most isolated deaths of any player in the LEC. I'll ask stats just to check that for us. Is Humanoid going to make the mistakes that Caps made and wiggle that corky booty? Didn't do it.
Smart.
I still remember watching Caps do that at the start of the Team Liquid game at MSI, and then just seeing G2 get destroyed. And I was on such a high when that booty, sorry, not Team Liquid, G2 get destroyed. I was on such a high when Caps wiggled the booty, and then immediately my just general emotions plummeted down.
What a roller coaster of a story.
It was a roller coaster of a story. Wasn't the best, I'll be honest.
Have you recovered?
Yeah, just about.
That's a lot of damage.
The finals did help me recover a little bit. Chachi here, as you say, taking a bit of damage from Bugax. Harrier doing quite a lot. The Guardian procced there by Norscarin down towards the bottom lane, but with the Flay can't really follow up too much.
I'm surprised Norscarin went for that play because you don't have the Aftershock now available. If level 2 is reached, that could be an all-in look for Orangelis and Slow.
Could be an all-in the top lane as well, though. Oddie going forward here. Chachi knocked up, didn't flash away early. Bugax could flash under the tower, won't go too far forward, but that is Chachi's Summoner Burst.
And this is what I said, you look for the early gank because you want to force out the teleport. You want to nullify that lane advantage that you get from running the Summoner. That means that the Ignite is going to be superior at every stage for the next 5 minutes. And you can see that Chachi already struggling with this lane. Has to be able to trade aggressively with the Grasp, and just can't do that against Quinn with a superior range.
It's so difficult to do, and then you get blinded as well from the blinding assault, the Q coming out from the Quinn. Now he's going to he'll teleport back into the lane, but really, all he's going to be able to do here is get Corrupting Potion stacks and a ward. Well, you have to TP back here, otherwise that lane's in such a bad position for you.
Apparently he doesn't agree with you, mate. He's just going to walk this one out. You can see Minion 1 will be denied, but it is a fairly big wave, so not all that much going to be lost here. So Chachi making a pretty smart choice.
Yeah, he's right. He read the minion wave a lot better than I did. Oddie is around mid after clearing out both his blue and red buff. It's a mixture. I was trying to work out who they were chanting for. Half is Splice and half is Isurus. Not the most melodic chants I've ever heard.
The Isurus group is actually popping off at the front, though. So, you know, I'm going to call this one pretty even, all things considered.
It's definitely even. It's just not the best melody I've ever heard, I'll be honest. But,
music to my ears.
Okay. So pretty even across the board here, apart from that top lane advantage for Isurus. Let's set some expectations. What are these teams looking to do over the next few minutes? Will it purely be Bugax trying to set Chachi behind and Splice trying to react to that?
Well, if I can just point our eyes towards the itemization, I think they're going to tell the tale for us. Double Doran's Dark Seal. This is going to be a snowbally top side of the map. With Klepto, you know, with the ability to just start generating gold. Hold that thought, Cersei up in this top lane, might look for something.
It's coming in. Bugax still has the flash. Could try and turn this one around. Flashes away. Xerxes will not chase any further.
That's a really nice gank because that's going to allow Gangplank to get that huge wave into turret. Oddie going to head up here and see if he can sway a gank back. But Chachi doesn't really have to stick around for anything. It's just a great read from the Gragas.
Really good read there from Xerxes. We talked about how good he is at tracking his enemy junglers, understanding where he can be. Puts Bugax just behind a little bit, or at least evens out that flash discrepancy that there was in the top lane. Saya trying to get some damage onto Humanoid here, but Humanoid's in a fine position. Running the Kleptomancy on the Corki.
Dank into the top lane. There is no flash available here for Chachi.
Well, have a look. At the moment, our eyes are on bot. Chachi, as you say, no flash. Xerxes trying to come in, but Chachi can't get away.
They might both die.
Blood. They might both die, but I think Xerxes should just be able to walk away from this one.
Okay, so no abilities available there. Didn't want to use the Vault for the slow. Little bit of action mid lane as well.
Humanoid Valkyrie is away, we'll get to see.
And that's a really good gank to swing it back into the favor of the Queen, because we already mentioned that Chachi had done a great job of collecting that huge wave and kind of reversing it into turret. You saw that that gank was nearly a 50-50. If Xerxes was there a little bit earlier, probably could have swayed it. But this will just continue that snowball to pick up a little bit more pace.
At the moment, it seems like Xerxes' duty is just to act as a bodyguard and help his waves push back out. Oddie, that was an awful EQ flash, or flash EQ, but they still get the kill in the end.
Yeah, some good result-based analysis. We'll say that it did result in a kill and first blood being picked up, so it's going to be a successful gank, but as far as confidence goes, certainly not what you want to see.
No, it's worse than some of my Jarvan plays. Chachi here is just going to push Bugax back with the Sapphire Crystal. He's he can, you know, just use a few more of those bows, use a few more of those parlays. And Bugax still running that Ignite, has double Dorans though. It's very hard for him to reset in the lane.
And they have to call Oddie back to the top side of the map because you can see Bugax can't get the wave in, can't go into river and try and click these, clean up these control wards. Teleport into the mid lane, and here we go.
Here comes Oddie. Level 6 on Bugax. He'll heal up from that honey fruit, and Oddie will be able to help clear out some of that vision. The control ward falls. 600 gold lead side for Isurus early on in this game.
But that was just a creep wave eaten by neutrals there. And what I mean by that is because the wave was so big, it was just continually hitting Chachi's, letting the wave build into him. So they get the control ward. But this is going to be CS and gold being denied from Bugax. I think this is certainly not a positive 10 CS lane for a Gangplank to be in from what we've seen. But that's really good pathing from Cersei to be able to impact the kind of way that the top side of the map was going.
Now, while Angelus and Slow are working their way towards that level 6, we've always talked about Lucian Braum as in a very aggressive bottom lane. The concussive blows able to be procced quickly with the Light Slinger, but Kobe and Norscaren have done an okay job of holding them at bay for the time being.
And we do see Summoner spells actually traded in the bottom lane. You see, once again, action mid, but not much happening. And this has just been jockeying for position. And Isurus, they know that they're playing the more early game focus. So you can see that they're trying to get into lanes, but this has just been really a clinic on pathing on how to protect the vulnerable parts of your map and not allow it to fall down. You know, smart warding coming across, protection of the river.
Hook gonna land there. Angelus will dash in. But this is what Splice do. This is how they play the game. If they want just to scale up, they'll have Xerxes act as a bodyguard early on. He'll be the one tracking the enemy jungler and making sure the ganks don't really connect. And then they just scale and they say, oh, well, we'll wait for Kobe to get Infinity Edge Rapid Fire Cannon. We'll wait for Humanoid to have Trinity Force Rapid Fire Cannon. And then we'll take any fight you want because we just outscale you.
And that's why it's so risky to play these kinds of compositions nowadays, as Humanoid gets some damage.
The root's going to connect here, but Humanoid still has the Valkyrie and Oddie too late on the EQ combo.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of damage being traded back onto Saya. So it's actually Saya that has to go back. He's not even running a combat summoner. Actually picked up the teleport. So very little kill threat, I feel, in this mid lane. And this game is being played exactly at the pace that Splice wants to. Flash forward.
Norscaren flashes in, brings Xerxes forward as well. The hook connects, and Angelus is not long for the rip. First kill of the game going over to Splice, and now Slow flashes away. One shot will connect, not back, not quite in range of the curtain call, but maybe it's still curtains here for Slow. Chase down, and a long-range captive audience will find its mark.
And the perfect donation over to Kobe as well. Picking up both kills, will be able to get this wave in. And we said that this was the early game comp that Isurus needed to be able to execute on. But Xerxes, again, in the perfect position. Northscarin able to lantern in the Gragas and then just layer the CC beautifully to be able to pick up the kills. The first one was the given. But once Slow had flashed, this looked like it was a little bit more difficult. And really impressed by the patience of Xerxes here to not go for the next auto and instead donate it over to the Jhin.
Getting those kills over to Kobe. 2-0 now, has the BF sword and the pickaxe. And the crowd, the Isurus Gaming crowd, you can hear them. They are well in support of their team. Of course, this was not knocked out. If they lose this, it will just fall to the second seed, but that does mean you're looking at people like Damwon Gaming as your potential opponents in the knockout stages.
And this tournament is getting very scary for a lot of teams because I feel like we've seen some great first seeds, but the second seeds are starting to try and shake things up. We already have a group of the VCS as well as the LMS that looks very back and forth.
Oh, Bugax. Deadly Flourish doesn't quite connect. Northscarin backing away. Xerxes maybe looking for the chain splash in. Bugax splashes away into the bolt. The hook doesn't connect. The heal came out the lantern. That doesn't do any damage. Northscarin and Oddie will not save Bugax today. Long range flourished. And it was well and truly deadly.
And the savior of Splice in Kobe able to grab another kill for them in that play. They expended so much to go for it, and they are losing out on gold on the bottom side of the map. However, this should be Herald started up and top lane plates going to Kobe as well. The early game needed to be in Isurus' favor with this comp. However, it has been Splice that have been able to dictate the pace of the game. Teleport coming in. This is a risk from Chachi.
She's going to teleport underneath the tower. Doesn't look like Isurus will be able to do too much about it. And meanwhile, the rest of Splice are just taking that Rift Herald. About 1,000 gold lead for Splice right now. And of course, that tower gets tankier the more plates you've taken in quick succession. So the Chachi was willing just to remain under it for the time being. Rift Herald goes down. Kobe looking for the tower here in the top lane.
And if you take a look at the minimap, you can see right now that it's going to be Gragas dropping the Herald into the mid lane. This is kind of the 2-for-1 special before 14 minutes. Because of the defense of bottom lane and the attempted turret dive that came out, Kobe was able to collect top lane turret by himself solo on this wave. And additional plates going across the humanoid.
Looking for the 10-plate special if you can get it. At the moment, they're only going to take down 8 as Kobe gets top. One more auto. Well, that's actually a very tanky tower right now, but he will get it in the end. He's sitting on about 2,000 gold at 5,500 on himself right now, so he can go back, finish that Infinity Edge, and start building up towards perhaps a rapid-fire cannon on the Jhin.
And this is one of those games that, quite like the Clutch versus Mammoth game, is starting to feel a little bit inevitable. There are still windows for Isurus to look to attack, but Splice seemed to have just shut up shop. Just say, you know what, we're going to trade sides on the map. We're going to play this one out smart. We've already got a completed Infinity Edge on our AD carry with the tabbies coming across. We have Trinity Force picked up for humanoid. Yeah. We are sitting pretty. We are happy to scale. You have to force the plays. And we've already said this tournament. The burden of execution when you run these comps is so high. That's why it's incredibly impressive to watch teams like G2, like Fnatic be able to play a fluid map state. Because the mistakes can cost you games. It can make it that the game runs away from you. And Isurus just haven't been able to generate the plays they need to get a lead.
You can see it's just such a struggle for Isurus now. We said, as you said, they want to play through the early game. They want to get things going, but they really haven't found it. Perhaps Bugax was their initial goal, get him ahead against Chachi, but Chachi's been able to withstand that storm ahead in terms of gold. Saya trying to jump in here, but Kobe kept safe by Northscarin on the Thresh. One of the benefits, of course, of Thresh is the ability to get your AD carry the hell out of dodge if you need to. And although Isurus, have more players around this mid lane, they have a little bit more control in terms of vision. It's very hard for them to chip away at this tower.
And because they don't have river control, it's very hard to push past neutral and try and look for these kills. You can see Humanoid doing a really good job of freezing out that wave, picking up as much farm as he can on the bottom side of the map. Quinn will collect a wave once again, back behind River, and Saya's in trouble here.
It just takes so much damage. You can see Missile Barrage just landing. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Angelus may be caught out. The box comes down, but Angelus is able to dodge away. And Splice, what did they burn for that? Flash and Ignite coming out from Northscarin. Sometimes being the weak link of this team, maybe being a bit too over-eager to try and catch the Isurus AD carry.
And I feel like if you're Northscarin, that's a good opportunistic play to look for because you do have better numbers. Gangplank was rotating towards that mid lane, but I just don't think you need to go for it at this stage of the game. There's nothing that you need to do apart from continue to strangle out vision, collect more gold. You're already up 2,000 with a much better composition late game. Just allow Isurus Gaming to make the mistakes. Allow them to force onto you and, you know, keep Kobe alive. He's already 3-0-0. He's going to be able to carry this game. There is no real tank to be able to stop him at this point.
He's so consistently the carry for the team as well. It's widely regarded as, you know, third, fourth best AD carry in Europe. You're looking at like Perks is up there, Reckless is up there, Hansama used to be in the mix, Upset is in the mix, but considering how often he is topping our charts, topping the All-Pro team even in spring, it has been a rarity to see him on the international stage, and here he's showing us that he can do exactly what he did in Europe at an international competition.
Yeah, nearly double the plates going across for Splash. You can see some of the gold a little bit missing there, but it is still going to be a massive advantage, and Bugak's looking for Chachi.
We'll see if this is kind of the point at which the Quinn pick might show its worth here. Bugax takes a bit of damage, but the Blinding Assault and the chase is on. Even with just the Bilgewater Cutlass, Bugax is winning those now.
Yeah, but it's going to take a while for him to chase down Chachi, and this is without completed Trinity Force coming across. You know, Chachi can just go something like Starex if he wants to play weak side. Sure. It will become even more difficult to dive him. It's not mixed damage out of Oddie and Bugax. I'm a little bit more concerned with the Jarvan pick once I found that they wanted to go towards something like the Quinn, because it would be great to have an AP damage mix coming out of the J4.
Oh, Seiya perhaps overstayed here just a little bit, flashes away from the cannon, from the cask. Even though we'll just clear out the wave. Oddie on his way. Who's coming here? Because he doesn't have a huge amount of damage, does Oddie? Cataclysm, yeah, okay, Oddie? Oddie? Perhaps looking for Garfield in the play in the bottom lane. Oddie goes down. Humanoid takes him out. Now Angelus and Slow are on the way. Angelus going forward. Humanoid will fall. And now the chase is on onto Xerxes. Here comes the curtain call from the side. One shot misses. Next goes wide as well. Now they look for Slow. Norscaven has the hook, has the play. Won't connect as Slow dodges back.
And a very strange force coming across from Oddie, because Seiya had already been forced out. However, you can see the desperation starting to creep in. They have to look for these trades, because at already 1,300 gold, with the map state the way it is, starting to get away from Isurus. They can feel that the time is running out to look for it. You know, this is the chunk that hurt, because you can already see on the minimap that Oddie was heading down, but Seiya has to burn the flash, isn't able to partake in the rest of this, and sure, you have the duo of Isurus Gaming coming down river, but as you mentioned, they're so far away. As Bryce's want to say, they're in Narnia, mate, and they're not going to be able to get here in time. Oddie will fall down. They do trade 1-for-1. But a lot of important resources used there for Isurus Gaming, but only an equal trade.
Angelus burning his flash at the end as well to get... It does get the shutdown onto the Lucian. That's a bonus, and then you don't lose anyone off the back of it. You take it. It's a 1-for-1, but as you say, Isurus will want a lot more than that if they're going to make their way back into this game. It's not over and done for. It's not all doom and gloom as we have a pause coming out. They're still only, you know, they're within touching distance in terms of gold, 1,500 behind. But when you have an all early game comp versus a great scaling comp on the side of Splice, it becomes more difficult the further you get into the game.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I mean, when we've just seen how these side lanes are going, it doesn't really even matter what the gold is. You just have to look at game state, right? I feel like gold is generally a good measurement of how it's going, but we've seen Chachi just trade evenly with a Quinn, being able to farm without any worry in the world. And on the other side of the map, Humanoid is starting to destroy Seiya. Yeah. He's really forcing him out of these plays. He's starting to chip damage onto the turrets. And Corki is a champion that gets very far ahead quickly when he starts building that snowball, and is a good side laner, is a good team fighter, and running Klepto means that he continues to just build up these gold leads.
He's got a 30 CS lead as well. He's sitting at 6,500 gold to 4,800 on the side of Seiya. We do just have some reports of audio issues on the side of Splice. League officials are investigating, which is why the pause has come through. I'm sure we'll get it sorted as quickly as we can. And yeah, let's just run through some of those gold numbers, because the lanes like Isurus would want to be ahead aren't ahead. Bugax is actually 100 gold behind Vizichachi. In the AD carry role, it's actually only a 400 gold difference now. Like, Angelus is still behind. He's sitting at 6,700, but there's 7,000 gold on the side of Kobe. So that isn't as big a discrepancy as the scoreline of 3-0 on Kobe might suggest.
Yeah, so really good job from Warangelis being able to keep up in his respective role. This is the player from Isurus that has kind of impressed me the most in this World's play-in so far. However, as you mentioned, this isn't going to be won through the mid lane. This is a 1-3-1 comp that is put together from Isurus Gaming. All Kobe has to be able to do is push out the wave, be able to meet it at neutral, which is always going to be the case. It is Bugax and Seiya that have to be able to generate a lead for themselves. to be able to have any form of side lane pressure.
Yeah, and you can see Humanoid didn't even go for the Hex Drinker here on the Corki. He has Merc Tread, so has a bit of magic resist, but sometimes against mages that can burst you down, you see that little bit more safety from the Corki here. Doesn't think he needs it. Now has the package. Seiya takes a little bit of a chunk Odi on his way across, but the special delivery from Humanoid will not be used as of yet. Seiya jumps in once again. You can see it's just chip after chip after chip. Humanoid not even going for the rapid fire cannon. And What Angelus fighting in the mid lane as Xerxes goes in, flashes past Slow. And that's another kill across towards Splice. Here comes Odi. Noskaven goes gold and Slow pops his stopwatch as well. The play back. Odi hooked in. Chachi takes down Bugax in the side lane. Odi trying to chase in here. There goes the Cataclysm. Here comes Seiya. Isra is trying to turn it around, but Kobe is still alive and he is rattling off the shots. Another kill goes over to Splice.
Mayhem across the map. Top laners will trade lives, but in the end, it is Splice who win out on that mid lane fight. Northscreen's aggression again, this time pays off. Should lead to the mid lane turret falling down, and Splice continue to build that lead.
Just bit by bit, they are taking everything away from Isras. Isras fight back, but it's a 2 for 3, and they lose their tower. They're not getting the good side of these trades. And I was going to say, Humanoid isn't even going rapid fire cannon second. He's building towards that Infinity Edge. You're getting more damage in these side lanes, and it becomes harder and harder for Isras to find an answer.
And if there's ever a comp that wants that dragon, is certainly Splice's. As we take another look, this is a really nice captive audience to start it off from Kobe, and then just great read from Xerxes, knowing his damage output, being able to flash through the Braum who was trying to block for the President. And you know, Slow will live on the back end of this. It will be one kill traded back, but again, Isras need to win these fights by more than this, and they're not winning them at all anymore. Not able to generate that side lane pressure. Take another look at the top lane fight. This is very nicely done from Bugax at the start to kite that out.
He kites it really well. Chachi using the bone plating there, not taking quite as much damage, and it looks like Bugax just overextends for it. Yeah, he dies because he tanks the tower, does get the 1-for-1 trade, but he could have just forced Chachi away and then pushed towards the tower.
And I feel like that's what he needed, right? He'd already done the job. Force him out of the lane, take the turret, be able to open up the map, use Valor to zoom around, set up good vision. Instead, he trades his life. Looks like Isras Gaming not really on the same page about what their comp needs to do, because they need to be able to make this map big. And right now, with all the waves on their side of the map feels tiny. They can't get anything done. And throughout all of that, Humanoid was just a stay-at-home corgi. Just sat there, whacked the turret, picked himself up. Yeah, very domesticated. Great boy. Took himself a Krug camp. Now you have a look at the items he's got. He's nearly got his Infinity Edge, nearly towards that 2-item spike.
Yep.
While Seiya's only on 1, Corki's items are way more expensive than LeBlanc's.
And Kobe has finished that rapid fire cannon as well. You can see Seiya here really can't do too much. The gasoline gun is enough from Humanoid to pick up that kill. Baron up in 30 seconds if Splice want to go for it, but with a 4,000 gold lead, they don't even need to do that. Xerxes perhaps on the wrong side of this as the Cataclysm comes out. Humanoid, no minions there, so he's tanking up the tower and he'll run away. Odi takes the kill. It's a good answer there from Isserus. And for the moment, they have penned Splice back.
And once again, it's only going to be, you know, nearly a 4,000 gold lead, but the fact that Splice is just playing so far on Isserus' side of the map already, Chachi has to run away from this one.
Yeah, Bugax has a huge amount of damage. There's no tower here for Chachi as well. This is what you can do on the Quinn. Now, Bugax gets away, but you burnt a teleport, you burnt a global, and that's so good for Isserus as long as Bugax gets out of here.
But he's not going to be able to.
No, he's not. The Cannon Barrage comes out and Humanoid takes the kill. I was enthusiastic for a minute, but Splice very willing to react and teleport down towards that bottom lane.
And not very fair when the Trinity Force Brawler's Glove, Mercury Treads, Infinity Edge, Corki shows up and swings the 2v1 in the favor of Splice. But this is why Bugax needed to go for the turret earlier, because you can see in a long lane, he is going to be able to bully Chachi around and try and generate those uneven team fights that Quinn is very good at being able to provide. But I mean, at this stage of the game, maybe it's already too late.
I think it might be right now. 4,000 gold, the difference. Humanoid chipping away at Seiya, who lands a good ethereal chain to get the stun off. Lantern used on Kobe, gets him to safety. The Predator was used here by Xerxes as well. Doesn't have the flash, used that the last time they fought in the mid lane. And Splice will just push Isserus back. Now Humanoid in a 2v1 trying to fight it out. Bugax can he do it? Junk, but he can't do it. The Ignite's going to tick away. Humanoid will fall, shut down by Bugax.
And they give the gold over onto the important member. I feel like the mid lane matchup is already just too far gone. Seiya's not going to be able to win this 1v1. However, Bugax now with a shutdown should be able to go back, pick up components of the Zeal, and maybe continue to look to bully out Chachi.
And this is the thing with him as well. If he fights in the bottom lane, he can get here so quickly. Doesn't need to teleport because he's got behind enemy lines. Meanwhile, the flash is going to happen in the mid lane slow. Tanking up the the majority of these shots. Cullen coming out as well. Well, Angelus actually stepping forward. Not really what you want to do into a Jhin. Odi dies, but Bugax gets a counter kill onto Chachi, and Isurus will take that.
Yeah, Isurus will certainly take that. However, teleport also used from Seiya to join that mid lane fight just for a disengage. So it is once again going to be a 1-for-1 trade, Humanoid falling earlier. But this is kind of a different situation than what I thought we would see. The 3 is holding up really well. You know, this Lucian Braum is doing its job. It's trying to hold down the mid lane wave, and it's continual misplays in the side lane. This time, Odi falling down in what is a 2v1 play that is hurting Isurus Gaming. You can see Chachi at this stage of the game just so tanky once again. 2 AD dealers is always going to be difficult. Got the flash out from Odi as well. And a 1-for-1 trade there.
I'm not actually sold on Odi needing to be there for that fight. I think Bugax could have just chased Chachi out of the lane once again, and maybe Odi comes for a big flank if Chachi's able to run away. But when you've got Blade of the Ruin King, when you've got the Quinn, you can chase down that gangplank pretty effectively. Now, we're 23 minutes in. Splice still have about a 3,000 gold lead, but they have been penned back a little bit. That gold lead hasn't extended. Isurus have found a couple of picks here and there. How do we expect these next few minutes to play out as Seiya does fight against Chachi here? You know, Chachi has the cannon barrage, so he should be fine just getting back underneath this tower.
Yeah, he doesn't really mind what's going on. They're going to trade it for bottom lane push as well as a dragon. And this is what I expect to see out of Splice. You know, look to play all 3 waves. Yeah. And then wherever superior numbers show up, disengage, and you hope it's away from Humanoid. He's got a 2-level lead. He's going to be able to put even more pressure down on this bottom lane turret. And you can see they're playing that as a strong side. Chachi's already behind his turret. Tier 2. Humanoid pushing up to the Tier 2 on the opposite side of the map, and Xerxes moving into that quadrant of jungle. You can tell that Splice are very comfortable in this map state.
They definitely are. You can see Xerxes here across the wall from Seiya. Does have the flash. Distortion forward. Xerxes going to jump in. If Seiya goes back, he'll jump straight in. Seiya just about gets away. Manages to survive a sliver of HP.
And now you can see Odi rotating down, and Bugax is here. That's going to be Predator popped. However, they might be able to close in on some of these kills.
Valor is working out here for Isurus. The cannon barrage will slow Bugax. Odi forced away by Xerxes. Slow kills North Scaren. Meanwhile, Humanoid jumped on Odi almost there. Xerxes is going to get one. Bugax can chase. He's got the flash. He's going to pop them behind enemy lines once again. North Scaren dead. Kobbe had to use his heal. And here comes Odi down towards the bottom side. Chachi and Kobbe going to chase him away. Bugax unable to find the connection. And now he is behind enemy lines once again. Chachi on the chase. But Bugax will just speed his way away.
And a much better setup here from Isurus Gaming. It looked like Seiya should have fallen down, but they attacked Humanoid side of the map. We know this is the area that's going to be pushing. And the catch in the river as well was something that they need to be able to orchestrate to cut off that fast rotation. Kind of the first signs of life in, you know, the last 15 minutes we've seen out of Isurus. Great
stuff here from Isurus. They're reducing that goal to about 2,000, the difference. And the team from the combined Latin America North and South regions, for the first time ever at Worlds, we've seen those forces together, are showing us that they can challenge, you know, major regions like the LEC.
Yeah, certainly are. I wonder if we're going to see a second Infinity Edge coming out of Kobbe, just as a short aside.
Definitely can.
I was talking to Ender, as we'll hold the thought.
Bugax chunked out a little bit here by Chachi, but chases in with the Volt. The Harrier passive doing a lot of work. Chachi heals up. Has gone Jarum's Fist and the Caulfield's Warhammer alongside those Ninja Tabis. So
randomly, I was talking to Ender about what's his favorite gym build, and he's like 4 Infinity Edges.
We didn't see it. I'm sorry. It is a great build,
just
though.
Just an Essence Reaver.
That's my ARAM build all the time.
Is it?
As many Infinity Edges as possible, because you just want to do damage. Don't need anything else. Slow caught out just a bit here, Kobbe. With the Essence Reaver, chunks him down, about to a half HP, but Splice is once again this mid-game faltering that we saw so commonly in the LEC. Splice had a huge lead, like 15-20 minutes we were saying this game was pretty much done, and now they haven't been able to extend that, and Isurus have fought their way back and found a couple of picks, and now Splice have to reset and work out how they're going to play the next 10 minutes, because by now, really, they should have been knocking on inhibitor towers.
Yeah, and I'm confused as to why Humanoid ran through mid to group with his team. Maybe just fishing for better lane assignments at this stage of the game, you know, wanting the Corki on the same side of the map as the Baron spawn. But that kind of play gives opportunities where, you know, potentially Warangulus and Slow can get involved in a team fight. All of a sudden, this Stoneflake Jarvan, which, you know, kind of sucks in a 1-3-1, is going to be very good in the 5v5, and you can look to chip down. This is still a tankless lineup coming out of Splice, so if they don't continue to drag Isurus around, there are opportunities for the Latin American squad to get fights.
Isurus trying to defend this top tier 2. Bugax clearing out vision in the blue side jungle of Splice. And Isurus just continue to hold on to this. We talked about how they have an early game comp. That doesn't mean they're champions do nothing as the game progresses. You can see here, Bugak's able to keep chunking out Chachi. Now, the barrels aren't going to be enough. The cannon barrage might be, though. Chachi flashes away. He's ignited. He's ticking down. And Bugax wins the 1v1 in the side lane.
And this is starting to get out of hand. Bugax has picked up 3 kills now in a row and is 6-3 on this Quinn and is starting to get the level lead back in his favor as well. If they can continue to generate side lane pressure like this, and Chachi can't use his ultimate on the flip side of the map, it gives Isurus Gaming a lane to play through.
And only his second international tournament, Bugax is showing up. Chachi, of course, first time he's ever made it to Worlds. It was 335 LEC games between his first game and the game in which he qualified for the World Championship.
And there's a big part of me that always smiles when Bugax does well, because every time I talk to someone from LATAM, it's like, it's a super team and from Bugax, jungle to support. Yeah. And it's like, what about Bugax? He does kind of well in these games. And they're like, yeah, he's not considered the best. He's certainly up there, but, you know, it's the super team from jungle to support. And now with the 6-3 Quinn, with bullying out Chachi, you know, it could be the most unassuming member of Isurus Gaming that secures them top seed in this group.
Well, he's definitely the guy that's kept them in the game so far. Out of 10 kills, he has 60% of them. And he has held Chachi and Splice at bay. Now he's in the bottom lane. Special delivery used there by Humanoid just to clear out the wave.
Okay, so let's explain a little bit further. Hold that thought.
No, you can explain.
Can I?
You can explain the fight that's going on. You used to play-by-play. You could have done it.
Yeah, it certainly could have taken it. However, what I wanted to say is, why is it stalling out so bad? Like, why does the map set look, you know, the way it does? And that's because they kind of went towards Humanoid's lane a couple of times with this Quinn at a, you know, very fast pace. So Humanoid said, I'm not completely comfortable in the split.
Okay.
But then you look at Baron, you're like, okay, we have an AP Gragas jungle, we have a Thresh. We can't really do Baron. If they ever get vision, they're going to be able to turn that fight. We're giving them what they want. So until they're actually in a situation where they feel like they have enough control of the top side of the map,
here we go,
that Isurus Gaming cannot approach,
here we go.
They can't do this.
So Splice have started up, but they're really just trying to bait Isurus Gaming into it. As you say, they don't have the quickest Baron taking team. A Jhin, not the fastest, no real tank. Corki does help out a little bit, but Splice will back away from it. Bugax still just sitting around the blue, where Splice's blue buff would be. He's taken that. Now he clears out the wolves. This whole quadrant belongs to Bugax. Chachi is the one sent to deal with him. And he has been struggling no end with this. Kobe spotted on a ward. Bugax behind enemy lines. Escapes.
All right. That was a take a deep breath moment there. Yeah. A little bit too close for comfort. However, Bugax going to be able to go back. Will be able to pick up the Infinity Edge now as well. And this map state is kind of now difficult for Splice to be able to shake themselves out of. Humanoid's massive. Kobe is still huge. But unless they can force around this Corki, I just don't know how they kind of take this game any further. Potentially you have to look at Humanoid matching into the Quinn. And I think he will win the 1v1 still. He's 100 CS up. He's absolutely massive. But that could open up areas where Oddie can start to look for those engages. And the game seems much closer than it should be.
I think the game's incredibly close. There's only 2,000 between these two teams. Now, we are at the 30-minute mark. Splice historically have been a team that tends to play around, you know, these later portions of the game. 30, 35 minutes is when they truly come online as a squad. But when you look at how the team fights will happen if they do, I mean, Isurus are very happy to just keep Bugax in the side lane. Say, okay, we'll play 4v4 if we need to. And then they have assassination potential from the LeBlanc. You've got a Jarvan who can jump on the backline. You've got Braum who can tank up a lot as well. And Splice, you look at it, yeah, they've got some damage, but is their team fight actually better than Isurus's?
They've got heaps of damage. They've got 2 4-item 80 carries and a Gangplank. But it just doesn't seem that they can get the situations they want. Potentially utilities roles not able to do enough. You know, a couple of missed hooks and executions on some of these team fights. And I thought the scaling was just going to be fine. But now that Quinn is in this situation where she's just got complete role, kind of domain over the bottom lane with no one willing to go down there to match.
Oddie caught out a little bit here. The hook does connect, but Noskaren's not going to follow it up, and Bugax still in that side lane. And it's using the ultimate to dodge around as much as possible.
And Slow's Braum has done so much, because that would have been a cask into a kill with any other support, but Slow puts up the door, and now Bugax is going to start knocking on the base And Splice have to do Baron.
They have teleport on Chachi if he wants to join this fight. Splice on the Baron, 2000 HP left on it, it's already gone. Isrus can't get there in time, the Baron goes down. And Splice finally pull the trigger, finally find the objective they were looking for, but Isrus aren't going to let them have it without a fight. They're looking for the flank. Saya jumping in onto Kobe, Oli there as well. They're on the back line, but the cannon barrage comes out, and already Angelus is down. Deadly Flourish landing onto Slow. Saya just jumping away, and Slow is down as well. Bugak's fighting here, down towards the bottom side. Humanoid able to flash away from the chains. Odi's gonna fall, you have to feel the Deadly Flourish flashed away, but Chachi says not today. Chases him down, lands the parlay, and it's 3 kills across the Splice.
And finally, Splice are confident enough to go for that Baron. They have the damage, they're able to burst it out. And with the 3 kills on the back end of it, they will be able to push down mid lane. They should start being able to siege this base.
So important that Humanoid survived in that fight as well, keeping the Baron buff on someone who can flank. Kobe jumped in here. Bugax is going to chase him down. Kobe is shut down. Chachi trying to trade him into the Quinn, gets one shut down, and now he's looking for Saya. Xerxes on his way down. Norscarin will join the fight as well, but Chachi just going for the tower. Demolish proc is enough to chunk it out. Where is the rest of Isrus? Angelus up. 6 seconds left on Odi. Humanoid pushing in the bot lane with these Baroned up minions. I think Splice will settle for 2 tier 2 towers off this push.
Yeah, and potentially an Cloud Drake as well. That should be all they get for now. However, Slow and Angelus want to see if they can generate a fight off the back end.
Oh, Angelus, that's dangerous because Humanoid has so much damage. You talked about it. 4 item AD carry. Humanoid almost deletes Angelus.
Yeah, I'm still not confident that you can just run into the Corki, who is 370 CS. He's 50 CS ahead of the clock. Now working on the last item at only 30 minutes into the game.
And he's got 120 farm more than Saya right now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is... Thank you for that analysis, Spawn. That is a lot. You're right. I agree with you.
That will be the Air Dragon falling down. Take another look at what happened on the top side of the Baron. This is just, unfortunately, Angelus missing the bus over the wall. And that means that the fight is already at mismatched numbers. You can see Bugax was a little bit later than what the teleport... So it wasn't even a teleport, it was just an early rotation from Chachi. And that was the team fight that Splice really needed to win, because one more turret in that bottom lane and you've got this annoying Quinn in your base. Now, however, with Baron buff, you should be able to push him out.
Looks like Splice are going to play towards the Quinn, but Chachi caught out all members of Isrus here. They found the flank position. Here comes Xerxes. Bugax down. Odi short to follow as well. You have to feel. Missing with the curtain call here. One hits Angelus. Splice coming in. 4 members strong. 4v4. Slow on the front line. He's going to fall as well. Saya, Odi, and Angelus trying to run, trying to get the hell out of dodge. Angelus almost takes down Xerxes, but 2 shots from Kobe is enough to chunk him out. Odi chased across. Teleport coming into the mid lane here. It's Chachi going... Oh, no, sorry. It's Humanoid going there with the Corki. And all Norscarin's trying to do is keep Saya around. Humanoid's going to take the mid lane in here tower. Norscarin lands the box copy on his way, but Saya has the damage. Deadly Flourish doesn't connect. The blade does. Kobe needs one more. Saya flashes the wall. Kobe aggro's the wrong one, and the Distort comes out. Humanoid now on the Nexus towers. Odi trying to do what he can to defend, trying to do what he can to keep his base alive. Odi chunked out. Humanoid takes the first Nexus tower, and now will put his eyes on the second. Splice trying to end this one now. It's all on Odi to defend. Slow up in 2 as well. Saya on his way down, but Humanoid's now on the Nexus, and here comes Saya. Kobe on his way, trying to join his team, but Humanoid just wants to get out of there. 2 Nexus towers will fall, and Splice will halt their advance.
So potentially not the game ending now, but still the Nexus is open. Bugax wants to look for a kill, and will maybe find it onto Xerxes. Will dash over the wall. Surprisingly mobile for a fat man. However, that is going to be... Was it not?
It's true. It was.
Absolutely. And now, Chachi in the side lane.
Here we go. Harrier proc blinding. Assault doesn't connect, but there's the damage coming out, and yeah, Chachi's dead here.
And that's why the Baron was so important.
Yeah.
Because this was what the side lane would have continued to look like with this Quinn if the game had have stayed in this map state that it was for so long. But Splice did the right thing. They forced the objective on the flip side of the map. Now with an open Nexus, there's like one more mistake for Isrus before this is lights out.
Next Baron up in a minute, 45 seconds, 2.5 on the Elder Dragon. 2 dragons apiece so far, but Kobe, that's the mistake perhaps. Isrus Gaming find the AD carrier. Kobe shut down. Norscarin now with the concussive blows, gonna land onto him. There's the Cataclysm as well. Bugax on his way. Harrier proc will land. It's a double. Bugax 9, 5, and 2 on this Quinn. Isrus Gaming are not giving this game up without a fight.
And so there is 40 seconds on Kobe, the Fed member of Splice. Humanoid still up and available, which means that they can defend. And sending back Bugax back to base is an interesting call to me, because it looked like they could have grabbed themselves a bottom lane inhibitor turret, but instead deciding to set up around this Elder Dragon.
He's so fast. That is the fast. Usually it's Jhin. This time it's Quinn. They rhyme, so it must work.
Chachi wants nothing to do with Bugax anymore in this game. He's like, let's just group, let's run down mid, you know, we've got this, team fight our way to victory.
I really don't think anyone from Splyce wants anything to do with Bugax. Like, even Kobby's struggling with
Humanoid?
him. Maybe Humanoid, but I think if Bugax manages to dodge out a Phosphorus bomb, I think Bugax could win that. He's got lifesteal, he's got the Infinity Edge. Would be close, in my opinion. Seiya now trying to set a trap for anyone who comes up towards this top side of the map. 1 minute left on the Elder Dragon, 20 seconds before the Baron comes up, and Humanoid's going to not spot out Bugax, who is able to use his ultimate behind enemy lines to get himself out of there.
However, due to this call to send Seiya into the top lane and try and go back into the 1-3-1, they've ceded all control over the Elder.
Oh dear. Humanoid has, he's got the package. Easy enough to get away. I was worried for Angelus there for a second. Oddie caught out, rooted up. No chase going to continue there from Splyce. Let's think about vision control as well. Not a huge amount of it from Splyce. No deep wards. Bugax can try and get flank positions off like this, as Humanoid with the GA will be able to survive if he gets taken down, but with the Valkyrie has to get away. Bugax chipping away once again on the Splyce members, and even with a 5,000 gold lead, Splyce are in an awful position right now.
But they're just neglecting bottom lane here, Isurus Gaming. They know that there's a huge wave that they have to collect, so even with the chunk onto Humanoid, who's gone back to base, they don't really gain anything. Baron back up and available. Elder Dragon also going to be joining it on the map, so the lack of control for both teams means that we've got kind of a strange map state. But I feel like if Bugax just continues to push this wave out, Splyce must go back to that Baron. They have to try and start this one up.
That's what they're going to do. Bugax on his way up, riding Valor to perhaps a victory, but look at how quickly the Baron goes down. Isurus needs to get there. 2,000 HP left on it. Oddie rooted up. He's in the pit. It's taken by Kobby, and Oddie falls. Here comes Seiya from the side. One up straight away. Seiya down. Kobby with the shot to the back of the mid laner. And now Isurus Gaming 3v5 have to try and defend because Splyce can look to the Elder Dragon. Splyce can look towards mid. There are no Nexus towers. All Humanoid has to do is get into the base, and he will take that Nexus in a matter of seconds.
And I feel like you have to force right now if you're Isurus Gaming, because as you mentioned, Humanoid already in the base. However, Bugax looking for him.
He gets the GA out. Bugax down to half HP. Kobby flashing for one shot, one dig. Kobby, one kill is all it takes. The Nexus falls and Splyce secure first seed in their group.
And look, Medic, I'm not going to call it a pretty win, but Ugly League of Legends seems to be putting in overtime today, and Splyce will be able to pick up a hard-fought victory.